Hi, this is Lorena, and I just want to sit and just share some things that have been going on with me, and I'm also going to show you a tutorial on a project that I've been thinking. Have you ever been somebody that you have these wonderful ideas and they're in your head, and then one day you just sit down and you go ahead and draw it, and then that's it? There's nothing else. You haven't put it into action. I have a lot of things to be creative with. You know, I have embroidery machines and I have my long arm quilting machine. And I think sometimes what I find is I have a great idea. And of course, I'm a mother. I have 5 kids and I'm a really busy person. And the idea is still in my head and it's floundering there. And I so want to do it, but then I haven't done it yet. And this is one of those projects. And so I just want to share with you an idea that I had in my head when I did a certain tutorial. And the tutorial that I did that got this idea going was the heart feathers. And so let me show you the heart feathers. It was this tutorial. It's how to make your own heart feathers tutorial. And these are some of the drawings. Well, I kept the drawings because I thought, you know what? It's a beautiful heart feather, but what in the hell are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? I mean, where can you put it? It's neat to look at. It's really beautiful. I think at the time I made even a bag with the tutorials when I did the quilting. But I had this idea of making this really beautiful banner of the heart feathers, you know, just in fluttering among each other in space. And I wanted to go ahead and try to implement it. So recently I just said, you know what, just go for it, girl. I found this satin fabric. And I already had an idea of what kind of fabric I wanted to do these heart feathers. For some reason, I love the view of satin, and I love the color of it. So I went ahead, and this is what I did. This is an idea that I came up with the feathers fluttering all the way around. And so it's an idea that I had probably, I don't know how long that tutorial has been, probably like 10 months ago, 6 months ago, 7 months, I don't know. I need to look it up. I am going to link that tutorial to this video. But I had the idea for so long, and it's been kind of floundering in my head. Then one day I sat down and I sketched it out. I just drew it on a piece of paper and just kind of pondered about it and had an idea. But it just I didn't do anything about it. And so what I want to share with all of us, the creative juices in us, it's great to have an idea, but I think it's greater to have implement it and put it into action. And so this is one of my, I'm going to put it into action kind of designs. So I'm really excited to do this, and I want to show you the process. So let's get started. So this is a drawing of the heart feathers before I started doing the heart feathers tutorial. Now these drawings are drawings that I did when I had the idea in my head. And this is initially what I really was thinking of doing with the banner. And so here's the drawing of the heart feathers, and what I did is I just transferred it over. I didn't need a light box or anything because the white satin was pretty transparent. So let's talk about my thread. I went ahead and I used So Fine thread from Superior Thread, and I used a thicker thread on the bobbin, which I used Essentials White Cotton thread. And here you see as I'm quilting that I'm really not following the exact line of the drawing. And really what I wanted the drawing to be is a place to have placement or idea of placement, and also to help me determine the size, because I really wanted the heart feathers to be pretty big. I also want to share about my lofty polyester batting. This batting is extremely thick and I had issues, so don't make the mistakes I did. I didn't tack the fabric tight enough or pull it tight enough when I tacked it, and so I had some issues where I had problems with pleating when I was doing this heart feather. Now, when you're doing something creative, or especially when you're finally implementing an idea, cut yourself a break. It's just an idea coming kind of to surface. You're bringing it out. So when I was making mistakes and when I wasn't following the lines, I just was kind of giving myself the grace to just be okay with it. Because anyway, after I sprayed the fabric with water, you can literally see that it didn't matter where the markings were. And here I'm just showing you what it looked like without any markings or with any fills. And just enjoy the process. It took me quite a while to finally get to this place where I started implementing my idea. And you don't want to make it miserable because maybe next time it can affect you when you have an idea, you kind of just give up because it's too hard or it's not enjoyable. So make this a process that you enjoy. Now on this heart feathers, you see that randomly, probably every 4 or 5, I put one of those swirls. I just wanted to make it a little different. But the same thing, you could see that I didn't follow the exact lines. I noticed that when I don't follow the exact lines or when things are not being quilted exactly how I want, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I kind of even start getting stressed out about it. And the truth is, it's really not worth it. Um, that can also affect the joy of making it. And, one of the things that gets you back on the long arm or back on practicing and doing it is, did you enjoy it? Was it fun? Now, here I decided that I wanted to try out my Lisa Callie templates. I got some circle templates from her. I've never done them before, so you could see me struggling and placing my hands and not sure what to do. Also, what I did is I drew the circles randomly in different places, and I was like, okay, do you like it? And then, no, I didn't like it, so I went back and I just drew more circles to get kind of the flow of how I wanted it to look on the banner. And here you see me just playing around. One lesson I learned is to remove your clamp, remove the handle because the clamp was hindering me when I was doing the circle template. Something I didn't even think about, that the clamp would be in the way with my micro handles. And you really do see me kind of fiddling here. I'm having a hard time. I did use my plate for the long arm to do this. And here is just the idea of what it looked like with the circles and some of the fills. Now we're getting into the fills. I decided to use shells. I think shells are the easiest fills, and I think shells are the closest to or the closest feel to making feathers. I really do believe if you could make a shell, you could probably make a feather. And so here you see me just on a side piece of fabric that I had next to the machine because I had extra fabric. I went ahead and started playing around with fills and just filling up the space randomly. Some shells I did maybe 3 back and forth, 1 back, 2 back and forth, or 4. It was just as random as it could be. And so here you see me on the quilt. I allowed myself to be as random as I needed to be. When I did another echo over the shell, really sometimes the reason I did extra is so that I could get where I need to get, so I could travel to a different space. And here you just see me filling up the space. It's nothing, um, it's just really to be easy and playful. Now here I did a shell, and then I decided, you know what? I want to see if I can make feathers on top of the shell. And when I'm making the feathers, I'm using 2 of them. I use following the stem feather or repeating the arc feather. And here you see me in this feather just repeating the arc, and then I'm tapping that one and repeating the arc there. So in this feather, I use both. I use repeating the arc and also following the stem. It just really doesn't matter. Once you have the skill, it's kind of to whatever you want to do. As long as it looks good to you, that's really what matters. And here, I speeded up the film a little bit, and anytime I did feathers in any place on the quilt, I make sure that I echo. So I just want to share that too. When I did the heart feathers, I also echoed around the heart feathers because it gives some rest and it also allows your design to pop up a little bit more than it would if you didn't. And so here you see me in just kind of weird random place starting to do those feathers and filling up that space. Really, all this was, can I do it? Can I make my idea that I had in my head come out? And here you see me just echoing. And here I changed the way the camera was so that you can see it more clearly how I was doing the feathers on the quilt. And I did it random. Some areas I did 5 or 6 shells, and then I did a shell with feather. In some areas I did more feathers. There was no real specific rhyme or reason for why I did anything. I really just wanted to fill up that space so that the feathers, the heart feathers, and the circles that I drew and quilted would be the highlight. This was more like a backdrop for my banner. So let me show you some pictures. This is what the top of the banner looks like. You know, the neat thing about this is the banner can either go horizontal or vertical. Initially, I designed the banner to go vertically, and this is what the center and the bottom looks like, and the whole thing. This is what the whole banner looks like, completely done. I am intending to paint it and to put some crystals on it, but right now I'm just enjoying the process of having a finished idea. I really do hope you like this tutorial, and please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. And have a wonderful day, and I really appreciate you guys watching and all your comments and all your support.